Hi, friends. My name is Valerie, and this is my channel, valeREADS, where I talk about all things books. In this video, I wanted to talk about some of my most anticipated releases for 2025. Also, Happy New Year, everyone. I am actually recording this on January 1st. It's one of my New Year's resolutions. I've started a YouTube channel before and I didn't follow through with it, so I'm really trying to be better at that. So, here's to trying again and making more time for myself and something that I enjoy, which is talking about books. And on that note, the first book that I want to talk about is The Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I'm very excited about this new release. I read her first book, A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, I believe it's called. I have a horrible memory, by the way, so I will be looking at my notes. I probably will be up here with my laptop so that I can read some of the descriptions of the books because one thing about me, I'm going to be honest with you and I'm going to be honest with me that I cannot just remember things from the dome. At this ripe old age of 30 years old, I need my notes. I need my assistive technology. I need my assistive devices. Okay, so I will be using my laptop. So here's my laptop. I need a new cover for it, but we're going to ignore that. So, the first book that I want to talk about is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. It currently stands at a 4.56 out of 5 on Goodreads. It's being released July 15th, 2025. So, I've still got a way to go. But still, I'm very excited to wait for it. I can wait impatiently. So the description says a whimsical and heartwarming novel about a witch who has a second chance to get her magical powers and her life back on track. From the national best-selling author of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Ooh. Y'all, so excited for this one. I guess I will go ahead and I'll read the description of it. Sarah Swan used to be one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Then she resurrected her great aunt Jasmine from the very recently dead, lost most of her magic, befriended a semi villainous talking fox, and was exiled from her guild. Now she, slightly reluctantly and just a bit grumpily, helps her aunt run an enchanted inn in Lancashire, where she deals with her quirky guest shenanigans, tries to keep said talking fox in check, and longs for the future that seems lost to her. But then she finds out about an old spell that could hold the key to restoring her power. Enter Luke Larson, handsome and icy magical historian who arrives on a dark winter evening and might just know how to unlock the spell's secrets. Luke has absolutely no interest in getting involved in the madcap goings on of the inn and is definitely not about to let a certain bewitching innkeeper pass his walls. So no one is more surprised than he is when he agrees to help Sarah with her spell. Worse, he might actually be thawing. Running an inn, reclaiming lost magic, and staying one step ahead of the watchful guild is a lot for anyone, but Sarah Swan is about to discover that she doesn't have to do it alone. I was about to say this sounds very heartwarming, which is exactly how they described it. So I think they did a very good job at describing the plot. Again, can't wait for this one. So the next book that I'm very excited for is called Bingsu for Two, and this is by Sujin Witherspoon. This book is a romance. It's enemies to lovers, and it looks like it may be kind of cozy, has a coffee shop environment. So I'll read the first line of the plot description, and that says meet River Langston Lee. In the past 24 hours, he's dumped his girlfriend, walked out of his SATs, and quit his job at his parents' cafe in spectacularly disastrous fashion even for him. So it seems like after River quits his job, he walks out on his SATs, he breaks up with his girlfriend, he begins working at the enemy or the competing cafe to his parents. And so he starts working there and he meets someone, and it's kind of a grumpy sunshine vibe for what it sounds like. The rest of the plot says that I guess they're bickering, and he uploads a video of that to a fandom account that he has, and they kind of go viral from there. Then everyone who has seen the video begins to ship them and think that they're in a romantic entanglement. Remember when that word was really popular, entanglement? So they get into a romantic entanglement, or at least everyone believes that they are, and they have to keep up that pretense instead of showing everyone that they basically hate each other, right? Again, enemies to lovers. So I think that one sounds really interesting. It sounds like a cute romance, just contemporary, quick novel that I can get through in between some of the bigger like fantasy world building types of books that I want to read this year. Another book that I really look forward to reading is The Witching Moon Manor by Stacy Savinsky. Now, I don't think that there has been a blurb that has been released yet. There's not even a cover for this book yet. It's coming out in October, and it's a sequel to the book. Do I have it here? It's a sequel to The Crescent Moon Tea Room, which I read about 2 weeks ago, and I'm absolutely just obsessed with that book. If you follow me on TikTok, I'll put that information in the description. But if you follow me on TikTok, you will see my immediate reaction after I read it. I'm obsessed. It was so good. So I'm very much looking forward to a sequel. Basically, the story follows three sisters who are triplets. They are witches, they are future seers. That's all I'm going to say. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Now, I am a big Abby Jimenez fan. I think she's fantastic. I love everything that she's done. I did my book superlatives on TikTok, and Abby Jimenez won both the most heart wrenching book and the book that made me laugh the most. So, girls definitely got range, and I'm very excited for her new release, Say You'll Remember Me. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read the plot blurb. It's currently sitting at a 4.64 out of 5. So, that's a pretty good rating. There might be no such thing as a perfect guy, but Xavier Rush comes disastrously close. A gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes, all while cuddling a tiny kitten. I love cats. Immediately, yes. That is, until Xavier opens his mouth and proves that even sculpted gods can say the absolute wrong thing, like really wrong. Of course, there's nothing Samantha loves more than proving an asshole wrong. Unless, of course, he can admit he made a mistake. But after one incredible and seemingly endless date, possibly the best in living history, Samantha is forced to admit the truth that her family is in crisis and any kind of relationship would be impossible. Samantha begs Xavier to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as that may be. Only no amount of distance or time is nearly enough to forget that something between them. And the only thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life, and even a love, worth remembering. So I'm assuming this is kind of, I almost want to call it a second chance romance. Like they, whatever, have a fantastic date, they have a beautiful time together, fall in love, kind of that insta love almost. Although I don't think, I hope it's not written as kind of like an insta love type of thing. um, but clearly they are attracted to and feel connected to each other enough that them meeting each other, that long date has stuck with them for a while, and maybe there's some time where they're not speaking and then they come back together. That's kind of why I say second chance. um, so I guess we'll see. And that's Say You'll Remember Me. And honest, I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan, to be honest, but I can just hear that song in my head now playing repeatedly. So thank you so much, Abby Jimenez, for that. Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab is another book that I'm very much looking forward to. That is being released, or at least it's expected to be released on June 10th, 2025. It's currently sitting at a 4.53 out of 5. Let's see. So the book description says Santo Domingo de la Calzada, 1532, London, 1837, and Boston, 2019. Three young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high, and one grows deep, and one grows wild. And all of them grow teeth. And that's it, love. That's all she wrote. So we'll see. The genre say fantasy, vampires, adults, LGBT, fiction, queer, lesbian, and then more. I'm not going to click the more, but those are some of the genres that are showing up there on Goodreads. Um, a bit mysterious. So I'm just looking forward to reading this. I've actually never read anything by V.E. Schwab, and so this will be, you know what? I think I lied. I definitely lied to you. I read Addie LaRue. Was that V.E. Schwab? I believe that I have it right there on my bookshelf, and I just see V.E. So I'm assuming that that is V.E. Schwab. I don't really remember that book. I read it as part of a book club, and to be honest, I kind of skimmed through most of it because I was going through a time, okay? And I just could not read all the way through. And I also feel like I skimmed it because I wasn't all that interested in it either. I might actually give that a reread before I check out Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Um, I don't know how much that will inform whether I enjoy this new novel or not because they're vastly different, right? So I guess we'll see. I'm looking forward to it regardless. And it's mysterious. I wish I knew more, but I also love that I don't know more about it. Some other books that I'm looking forward to are Oathbound by Tracy Dion. I'm not going to read the description just because I don't want to spoil anyone who hasn't read the first two. Now, I have the first two. I read the first one. I have not gotten around to reading the second. I love the first book though, and I recommended it to so many people. So I actually want to do a reread of those as well. Well, a reread of the first and then an actual read of the second before I can get into the third. But I am very much looking forward to that release. And then another novel that I'm looking forward to that I'm also not going to read the description of is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. And I'm not going to read the description for the same reason as before. I don't want to spoil anyone who hasn't read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Now, I really enjoyed Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I actually read those books. I read Fourth Wing right before the release of Iron Flame. It took me about 2 to 3 weeks. You know what? I think I just lied to you again. I think it took me like 2 weeks to finish both books. I think I read Fourth Wing in like 2 or 3 days, and then I finished Iron Flame definitely in 2 or 3 days. I was in it. I really like them. I was shocked by the ending of Iron Flame, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what Rebecca Yarros does next. Another book that I'm really excited for is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. Now, this book is about girls, obviously, who I believe are sent to an institution and they are given a book of witchcraft by one of their, what is it called? Let me see if I can actually find the blurb because I do want to read that one. Okay, so I have it in front of me now, which is going to be helpful because, like I said, I'm not great at describing things from the top of my head when I've only read the blurb once before. So, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix stands at a 4.06, and the blurb says this. They call them wayward girls, loose girls, girls who grew up too fast, and they're sent to the Wellwood home in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families who have their babies in secret, gave them up for adoption, and most important of all, to forget any of it ever happened. 15-year-old Fern arrives at the home in the sweltering summer of 1970, pregnant, terrified, and alone. Under the watchful eye of the stern Miss Wellwood, she meets a dozen other girls in the same predicament. There's Rose, a hippie who insists she's going to find a way to keep her baby and escape to a commune, and Zinnia, a budding musician who knows she's going to go home and marry her baby's father, and Holly, a wisp of a girl, barely 14, mute and pregnant by no one knows who. Everything the girls eat, every moment of their waking day, and everything they're allowed to talk about is strictly controlled by adults who claim they know what's best for them. Then Fern meets a librarian who gives her an occult book about witchcraft, and power is in the hands of the girls for the first time in their lives. But power can destroy as easily as it creates, and it's never given freely. There's always a price to be paid, and it's usually paid in blood. Okay, that sounds haunting. That sounds devious. That sounds nefarious. Am I excited? Absolutely. I love all things witchy. As you can see here, I have lots of tarot cards here. I am very excited for this book. It's definitely up my alley, and we shall see. We shall see what Mr. Grady Hendrix has for us. I, for one, will be seated and waiting patiently. Not too long though, because I just saw that it's being released January 14th. So I have 13 days to wait and I will be in there like swimwear. I know people don't say that anymore, but here we are. Another book that I added to my list actually last night, I discovered it last night on Goodreads, is My Best Friend's Honeymoon by Meryl Wilsner. It's sitting at a 3.66, which is not bad. The first line says Meryl Wilsner's spicy F/NB romance, where two lifelong best friends go on a non refundable honeymoon together and discover sometimes to find a happily ever after. You just have to ask. Okay. The genres are romance, LGBT, contemporary, queer, lesbian, adult, fiction. I'm into all of it. I'm ready for all of it. And so apparently, the main character, Elsie, discovers that she does not want to marry her current partner. And again, like I just said, goes on a non refundable honeymoon with her best friend, and a romance ensues. I'm ready for it, babe. I'm ready for it. Okay, I'm gonna stop chatting now. Those are really the books that I'm most excited to be released in 2025. There is one more, and that's Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I know I just said I was done. I promise. I am done now. Those are all of the books that I'm very excited to be released in 2025. Now, that doesn't mean that those are the only books that I am excited to read in all. I have a bunch of books on my bookshelf that I have not gotten to yet. And if you would like a video about me going through some of those books that I am ready to read, please let me know. Some of them are series that I just need to finish. Some of them are on this shelf right here. I have two other bookcases over there. And you know what? I need another one as well because I have too many books. And I'm excited to talk about them with you all, though. So I hope you stick around. I hope you decide to describe describe how you want to subscribe to this channel. And I hope you all stick around. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic day, evening, wherever you are.